The FA has promised to leave no stone unturned in the investigation into allegations of sexual abuse in football, as another former player came forward. Northumbria police are supporting a former player for Newcastle United after he reported an allegation of historical sexual offences. And Manchester City say they are investigating links the serial paedophile youth coach Barry Bennell may have had with their club. Sky Sports correspondent Paul Kelso reports.
Police arrive at the Buckinghamshire home of convicted paedophile Barry Bennell and leave with some of his belongings and his dog. Bennell was clearly not at home, but the fallout from the abuse he is alleged to have carried out while working as a football coach continues to appall the English game. Day by day, player by player, tales of abuse have grown. For the first time, the Football Association has responded to a tide of allegations that has swelled by the hour. An NSPCC helpline took 50 calls in the first 2 hours it was live.
Many sectors of public life have had to face child abuse scandals in recent years. Football is now facing its own past. Can you guarantee victims that the FA won't flinch?
Not only will we not flinch, we won't seek to blame anybody. What we've got to do is to make sure that those victims are supported, that this doesn't turn into an exercise by football trying to protect its own reputation. Our job is to protect the victims and make sure there are no more victims. And we'll take that on the chin, we'll hold ourselves to account, we'll work closely with the police and the victims, and I will meet any victim who comes forward, as I met one today.
It all began with this man, Andy Woodward, whose account of abuse by Bennell while he was at Crewe Alexandra broke a shameful silence.
There is more high-profile people that are sat there thinking on whether can or can't. You don't have to be named. You don't have to put yourself on the front of a paper, but you do need to get closure. And I do know they're out there, and I just encourage them to, pick up the phone, ring up and just say, I was a victim.
3 other players, including former England forwards David White and Paul Stewart, have already gone public. And there are fresh reports that a former Newcastle United player has alleged he was abused while in the club's youth training scheme. Northumbria police are investigating. Meanwhile, Manchester City, one of the biggest clubs in the country, has launched its own inquiry into Bennell's alleged association with them. Crewe, a club whose proud tradition of youth development is cast in a new light, are also investigating. And Director of Football Dario Gradi, who as manager employed Bennell, said he knew nothing of his crimes. The FA has written to all 30,000 clubs in England asking them to review child safety measures.
The Football Association says it is focused on supporting victims and making sure that children playing the game today are protected, and that only in time will it look at any failings that allowed abuse to go unchecked in the 1980s and 90s. But with more footballers set to come forward with their own tales of abuse, that task may become more urgent.
The English game may be confronting its darkest secret. Paul Kelso, Sky News at Wembley.
A committee of MPs has condemned the behaviour of the former head of the inquiry into child sex abuse as disgraceful. The Home Affairs Select Committee said confidence in the inquiry, formerly chaired by Dame Lowell Goddard, had been seriously diminished and that it should consider splitting. The inquiry's current head said she is determined it will be successful. Sky's Laura Bundock reports.
It's been beset with problems from the start, and now the inquiry into child sexual abuse finds its own conduct under severe scrutiny. A Commons report claims confidence in the inquiry's ability to deliver its objectives in a timely and effective way has been seriously diminished by the problems it has encountered. Problems which include the resignation of 3 chairwomen and allegations of internal bullying and assault.
We know that this inquiry is really vital because historic child abuse has gone uncovered for far too long, and the scars are still felt by so many people today. But that means it's got to deal with the problems that have beset it for the last 2 years.
The report says senior lawyers have left the inquiry at an alarming rate, most prominently the lead counsel Ben Emerson QC. His resignation followed allegations of sexual assault, claims he categorically denies. The Home Affairs Committee says the inquiry's response to this has been inadequate, adding, "We do not believe that the independent inquiry has taken seriously enough its responsibility to pursue allegations of bullying or disclosures of sexual assault within the inquiry." The report calls for greater transparency, saying there is a risk to the inquiry's authority if there is a perception of a cover-up over allegations of abuse. Failures in the inquiry have already prompted one leading survivors group to pull out. Others say delays and slow progress must end.
Certainly confidence has been damaged, with every new change of chair, with every new allegation that comes out. It really does strike at the heart of the confidence of survivors and victims. And as to what needs to happen, transparency and better communication.
The report also criticises Dame Lowell Goddard, the inquiry's third failed chairwoman, calling her refusal to give evidence in person disgraceful. Tonight, her successor, Professor Alexis Jay, said the inquiry's safeguarding and dignity at work procedures were robust, but added, "I recognise the impact of recent speculation and commentary about them. As a result, the inquiry will invite an external senior legal figure to review some of the issues raised in the committee's report." With a review due soon, she has a huge task, regaining confidence in an inquiry troubled by mistrust. Laura Bundock, Sky News.
Well, Michael Gove, the former Justice Secretary,